Recording begins. File access confirmed. SCP-055 initial review.
Right. I have the physical document right here, so we need to go through this line by line. We should probably assume our window of retention is, well, closing.
Yeah, let's just get straight to it then. I mean, look at the top of the file right away. There is an immediate operational contradiction that just makes zero sense.
Wait, which part?
The object is classified as Keter,
Right.
and that designation inherently means the anomaly is exceedingly difficult to contain consistently, usually because it's actively hostile or fundamentally incompatible with standard physics.
Sure, yeah.
Yet look at the special containment procedures. It explicitly mandates that security guards are not to be posted outside the room. They actually capitalize the word "not D."
Let me see. Oh, wow. Yeah, I see it. It is highly irregular.
I mean, it defies every standard security protocol we have. If an object requires Keter-level containment procedures, leaving the door completely unguarded is practically begging for a containment breach.
Well, why would you deliberately remove the human element of security?
Exactly. Let's check the physical specifications of the room to verify what is replacing that human element.
Okay. It states the object is kept within a 5 by 2.5 meter square room. The walls are constructed of cement,
How thick?
specifically noted as being 50 centimeters thick, and surrounding those cement walls is a Faraday cage.
Wait, hold on. A Faraday cage?
Yeah, that's what it says right here. And access is via a heavy containment door constructed on bearings to ensure it closes and locks automatically.
But why is a Faraday cage necessary for an anomaly that targets the human mind?
Well, let's just stick to the text.
Well, Faraday cages are designed to block electromagnetic fields, right? They stop radio frequencies, microwaves, static electricity.
Right, but we don't know.
If the primary threat of this object is mimetic, like an informational hazard based on the concepts we perceive, why are we treating it like it's emitting an EMP or a directed energy wave?
We might be getting ahead of ourselves.
Could the memory wipe actually be an electromagnetic frequency? Like, is it broadcasting a localized signal that physically disrupts the neural pathways in the hippocampus responsible for memory retention?
Okay, we're assuming way too much right out of gate here. Where does it actually say that in the document?
Well, it doesn't explicitly state it, but the presence of the cage implies a function. You don't just requisition the materials to build a 50-centimeter thick cement vault with a Faraday cage around it for no reason.
True, but the file does not support the conclusion that the anomaly operates via electromagnetic frequencies. It simply lists the Faraday cage as part of the physical containment structure.
So we're just guessing.
We cannot extrapolate an operational mechanism that isn't explicitly documented. We don't know if the cage is meant to keep a signal in, or if it's meant to keep outside interference from interacting with whatever's inside.
Okay. Then let me look for the acquisition log. If we can see who designed the room and why, or at least who authorized the requisition of the materials, we can reverse engineer the scientific rationale.
That is a good idea.
Someone had to do the math on the thickness of that cement, you know?
Well, check the first bullet point under the description section. Let's see what that says.
All right, let me see. How Site-19 originally acquired SCP-055 is unknown. What?
Read that again.
It says it's unknown. How is that remotely possible? Site-19 is one of our most secure, highly documented facilities.
Yeah, that really doesn't track.
You can't requisition a new office chair here without a redundant paper trail. When SCP-055 was obtained, and by whom is unknown. This doesn't make any sense.
I mean, let me look at it.
Who authorized this? Someone had to sign off on the pouring of the cement. Someone had to install the Faraday cage and physically mount that bearing door. Why is there no acquisition record?
The file does not answer those questions. But look at the chilling implication of what is actually missing here.
Chilling. What do you mean?
I will read the specific bullet point regarding the construction. It says, who authorized the construction of SCP-055's containment room, why it was constructed in this way, or what the purpose of the described containment procedures may be, are all unknown.
Are all unknown.
Yes. It is written right there as a confirmed unknown variable.
It's an institutional blind spot, a massive gaping hole in the Foundation's database.
Exactly. We have to take the text at face value. The architectural and bureaucratic history of this anomaly has been completely erased. Not redacted, mind you, but erased entirely.
So if we don't know who built it, when it was built, or why it was built in this exact configuration, then look at the next line in the containment procedures.
The distance rule.
Yeah. It is further advised that all personnel maintaining or studying other SCP objects in the vicinity try to maintain a distance of at least 50 meters from the geometric center of the room, as long as this is reasonably practical. Where did the 50-meter rule come from?
The text doesn't say.
But think about the physical reality of that. If we don't know the purpose of the containment procedures, how do we know the safe distance is exactly 50 meters from the geometric center? Who calculated that radius?
We don't have those calculations.
Is it like an inverse square law of cognitive degradation? If you stand at 49 meters, do your memories dissolve faster?
Again, we're assuming too much. We only know the rule exists in the documentation.
But there has to be a reason.
We do not know the science behind it, nor does the file provide the empirical data that establishes the 50-meter threshold. But notice the phrasing.
The phrasing.
As long as this is reasonably practical, it only advises the distance be maintained. It's not a hard wall of immediate death, but likely a gradient of effect.
This is highly unsettling. I mean, if anyone ever listens to this recording, or if we listen to this recording in 10 minutes to figure out what we were doing, we need to understand the threat mechanism.
Right. We should focus.
Let's shift focus from the room to the object inside it. If we can't understand the engineering, maybe we can grasp what the object actually is. The file says its physical appearance is unknown, but then it immediately contradicts itself.
Where does it contradict itself? Read the line.
It is not indescribable or invisible. It says individuals are perfectly capable of entering the container and observing it. They can take mental or written notes. They can make sketches. They can take photographs. They can even make audio and video recording.
It literally states that.
Yeah, it says right here, an extensive log of such observations is on file. So why can't we just look at the extensive log?
Let me check that section.
If there are photographs and video recordings, the physical appearance isn't unknown. We just have to review the secondary materials. We bypass the direct observation entirely.
You're skipping a bit. Read the very next sentence. You are ignoring the documented mechanism of the anomaly.
Okay, however, information about SCP-055's physical appearance leaks out of a human mind soon after such an observation.
Leaks?
Leaks! Like a fluid.
Yes. The file specifies what happens to those who attempt to document it. It's not just a failure to form short-term memories. Individuals tasked with describing the object afterwards find their minds wandering and lose interest in the task.
No.
Individuals tasked with sketching a copy of a photograph of SCP-055 are unable to remember what the photograph looks like. And this applies to the researchers overseeing those tests as well.
That's crazy. It's like trying to hold water in a sieve. The harder you try to grip the facts, the faster they slip through your neural pathways.
Exactly.
The brain is trying to hold on to the data, but the data itself is actively volatile. But wait, what about closed-circuit television?
What about it?
You wouldn't be in the room. You wouldn't be observing it directly. If you look at it through a screen securely stationed in an observation deck away from the 50-meter radius, shouldn't that be safe?
Let me find about the part about cameras.
Because the screen translates the light into digital data, it shouldn't carry an anomalous cognitive hazard. I mean, the optics are entirely detached from the source.
No, the hazard isn't purely optical, it's informational. The file directly addresses that operational theory.
It does.
Yeah, it states, security personnel who have observed SCP-055 via closed-circuit television cameras emerge after a full shift exhausted and effectively amnesiac about the events of the previous hours.
Exhausted. So the medium of observation doesn't matter.
Correct. The medium does not bypass the memory failure. If a camera turns light into pixels and a screen turns pixels back into light, the underlying concept of the object is still transmitted into the mind.
That is deeply terrifying.
The document is clear that direct, recorded, or delayed observation all result in the same cognitive outcome. The exhaustion suggests the brain is actively fighting a losing battle against the dissolution of the memory.
The information physically leaks out. It's an active extraction. It's an antimimetic effect. It destroys its own informational footprint.
It seems that way, yes.
If the memory failure is that absolute, we need to look at the classification rationale. Why is this specifically a Keter threat? An amnesiac effect is highly disruptive, yes, but Keter implies a massive, active, existential danger. Let me look at the threat assessment.
It is at the end of the main description paragraph. Here, let me point it out.
Okay. SCP-055 may present a major physical threat and indeed may have killed many hundreds of personnel and we would not know it.
Read the rest of that sentence.
Certainly it presents a gigantic memetic or mental threat, hence its Keter classification. Wait, it may have killed hundreds of personnel,
Right.
and we wouldn't know.
The language is precise here. May have killed is outlining a statistical or theoretical possibility based on the nature of the information suppression.
But if it's killing people, where are the bodies? Would we forget the bodies too? Would we forget the staff members who went missing?
It's possible.
Or would we just rationalize their absence as a transfer or a mundane accident because our brains refuse to connect the dots back to room 55? This is bad. This is really bad. Let me look at document 0551.
Okay, I'm looking at it too.
An analysis of SCP-055. The author puts forward the hypothesis that the object was never formally acquired by the Foundation at all.
Ah, the third-party hypothesis.
Right. It theorizes that the object is an autonomous or remotely controlled agent intentionally inserted at Site-19 by an unidentified third party.
Right, but keep in mind.
For what purpose? To silently observe or interfere with activities at Site-19 to interfere with humanity worldwide.
Okay, take a breath.
This is a strategic nightmare. If there is an autonomous agent actively infiltrating one of our most secure sites, wiping our memories to cover its tracks in real time, what is the Foundation doing about this? How are we countering an infiltration that we can't remember?
Hold on, you were spiraling. That is not in the document as a fact.
It's right here in document 0551. I'm looking right at it.
Document 055-1 is explicitly labeled as an analysis and a hypothesis. Furthermore, the author of that hypothesis is unidentified. We don't even know who wrote it, or if they had the clearance to make that assessment.
But the implications?
It is speculation recorded within the file. It is not an established, verified property of the anomaly. Look at the final line of that specific section. Read what it concludes about those potential threats.
Let me see. No action to counter any of these potential threats is suggested or indeed theoretically possible.
Exactly. It is a hypothesis that concludes with an operational dead end. You cannot fight a war if you forget the enemy the moment you look away from them.
I guess that's true.
No action is theoretically possible because the nature of the anomaly precludes the retention of the operational planning required to counter it. We cannot treat the third-party infiltration theory as a confirmed fact. The document does not support it as anything more than a terrifying theory.
Okay, you're right. I need concrete facts. We have to anchor ourselves to something real here.
Let's stick to the verified data.
There has to be some successful data retention somewhere in this file, otherwise there'd be no file at all. Let me check Addendum A and document 055-2.
Let's look at those.
This is a report from a Dr. John Marachek regarding Survey Team 19-055-127-BXE. They entered the container to ascertain its appearance.
Yes, the methodology mentioned in Addendum A was proposed by Bartholomew Hughes. He suggested keeping notes about what the object isn't rather than what it is. Negations of fact.
Negations of fact. That is actually brilliant. It's like looking for an invisible man in the rain. You can't see the man himself, but you can see the empty space where the rain isn't falling. You define the whole by feeling out its edges.
That's a good way to put it.
Let me read this debriefing log with Dr. Hughes and the survey team member. Dr. Hughes says, okay, I'm going to need to ask you some questions about number 55 now.
And the team member's response.
This member says, number what? Then Hughes says, SCP Object 55, the object you just examined. And the team member says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think we have a 55.
Notice the timeline there. The team member completely lost the memory of the object, the examination, and even the existence of the designation within hours, maybe minutes.
Right. The data dissolved completely. But then Hughes prompts him about what they agreed upon beforehand, the negative knowledge.
Read that exchange.
Dr. Hughes. Okay, then, do you remember that we all agreed that it wasn't spherical? Team member. That what wasn't, right, it isn't round at all. Object 55 isn't round.
The document notes this as a successful test of the negative knowledge hypothesis. The team member couldn't remember what the object was, but could deduce its existence by remembering what it is not.
That's wild.
The file concludes, it appears to be possible to remember what SCP-055 is not, negations of fact, and to repeatedly deduce its existence from these memories.
So we can remember the boundaries. It is not a sphere. It is not round at all. But look at the psychological toll this takes.
The trauma reports.
Yeah, the report states personnel involved reported moderate levels of disorientation and psychological trauma associated with cycles of repeated memory and forgetfulness. I mean, it is psychological torture to realize your mind is being repeatedly wiped and you are powerless to stop it.
Well, Yes, but then the file says psych assessments of survey personnel showed consistent reports of this distress fading over time.
Fading over time.
The distress fading over time is standard for trauma recovery. The human brain naturally compartmentalizes severe stress.
No, you're missing the terrifying implication of that sentence. The distress doesn't fade because they go to therapy. The distress fades because the memory of the trauma itself fades. The memory of the object fades. They forget why they were stressed in the first place. They forget it entirely. If people forget the object in minutes and the distress of the realization fades away like it never happened, how do we know this current file is reliable?
The file is in the Foundation database. It has standard access controls.
But who wrote it? If you can't remember the object to describe it, who compiled this main description?
I mean, someone with access.
Who physically typed the words, "It is not indescribable" or "invisible"? If someone went in, observed it, and then their mind wandered while writing the report, how did this document ever get finished? How do we know this isn't a complete fabrication?
Calm down.
So, are we forgetting right now? How long has we been sitting at this table looking at this piece of paper?
We need to remain objective. Focus on the text. The document anticipates this exact reaction. Point your attention back up to the final paragraph in the main description section.
Okay. Despite SCP-055's container being easily accessible, all personnel at Site-19 claim no knowledge of SCP-055's existence when challenged.
No, the paragraph below that.
Okay, all of these facts are periodically rediscovered, usually by chance readers of this file, causing a great deal of alarm.
Alarm.
This state of concern lasts minutes at most before the matter is simply forgotten about.
The document explicitly states that the alarm you are experiencing right now is a documented cyclical reaction to discovering the file.
So this has happened before.
Yes. It is a known biological symptom of interacting with this data. The Foundation can only claim to know what is written on the paper in front of us right now. The file is our only anchor. We cannot verify its origin, we cannot verify its authors, but we can verify its current content.
We're in the cycle. We are the chance readers. We found the file, we're reading it, we are experiencing the alarm, and the document says this state of concern lasts minutes at most before it is simply forgotten about.
That is what the text indicates. The memory leak is not hypothetical. It is happening to us as we speak.
Which means we are going to forget this. We are going to close this file, leave this room, and we won't remember having this conversation.
Most likely.
We won't remember the 50-meter rule. We won't remember the Faraday cage. We won't remember that the object isn't round.
If the document is accurate, yes, we will experience the memory leak, and our distress will fade as the data dissolves.
Then we have to document our confusion. We need to log our operational questions immediately, right now, before the leak takes full effect.
Good idea.
If we log the unresolved questions on the official review record, it will exist outside our minds. It will be negative knowledge. We will know what we don't know.
I agree. We must establish a strict, permanent record of the missing operational data based solely on the text provided in the SCP-055 file. We will format it for follow-up review so the next chance readers, even if it's us tomorrow, have a starting point.
I am starting the log now. I can already feel the details slipping. I'll read out the questions for the recording exactly as we need to file them.
Go ahead. Just focus on the text.
Unresolved questions for follow-up review. 1. What is the operational purpose of the Faraday cage if the anomaly is mimetic? 2. Why is the safe distance established specifically at 50 meters from the geometric center? 3. Who authorized the original construction of the containment chamber? 4. What were the specific reasons for the failure of the attempt to destroy or move SCP-055? 5. How can the validity of document #0551 be verified if the author's identity is unknown? End recording.